What is going on, guys and gals? Brooklyn bound the Raid Scientist here, and today we have another full walkthrough on how to obtain the Lightfall Neomuna seal and title, Virtual Fighter. We're going to break down each triumph required with some tips and tricks to help you along the way. If you're new here, let me know what you think of the video in the comments, and if you learned something or enjoyed the content, please kindly consider subscribing, as we typically break down every title and seal in the Destiny universe. If you're just here for a specific triumph, I'll have chapters and timestamps for each of them in the description. Let's get started. First triumph up on the Virtual Fighter seal is, in all honesty, the longest and most time-consuming of them all, so we'll spend some time on it here. Skip ahead using the chapters if you've done this one already. It's called Neomuni Souveneirs and requires you to complete the Collections badge for the Neomuna destination. When you load the Collections badge, you see that you'll have a ton of items to find. Now, I don't have time to break down every single item one by one, but here's an overview. First, all of the weapons come from completing the campaign, the From Zero and 2 hero side quests from Nimbus, as well as running the Terminal Overload activity. All of the armor pieces come from ranking up Nimbus and collecting from his engrams. The 3 exotics all have their own quests, which are required as part of the Virtual Fighter seal anyway, so we'll cover those later in the video. The Terminal Circuit emblem comes from opening 50 Terminal Overload final chests, which, if you check my video linked in the description on ranking up Nimbus, you can cheese quickly by opening the chest, going through a loading zone, and then zoning back in and reopening the chest again a few more times before it despawns. The Sanctuary of Nefel emblem comes from completing the campaign on Legendary difficulty. Note, you have to do all 8 missions on Legendary, not just the final one. And the Scintillant Trajectory shader comes from Nimbus when you reach a high enough rank. The last item, and the one most have the questions on, is the ship, Foremost Vimana. This ship is a reward from completing a triumph called Neomuna Sightseeing, under the Neomuna Lightfall triumphs. It says you have to earn a score of 1,400 or more points in the Neomuna destination triumphs. Essentially, every single triumph in this section under Neomuna, both the activities and the world triumphs, are all worth different amounts of points. You have to complete enough of all these triumphs so your total points are 1,400 or higher. This can take a good amount of completed triumphs, and there's no speeding this up really, but there are some tips. First, focus on the ones that have the largest points for the least amount of time required. Doing a bunch of terminal overloads, using keys, reviving teammates, using Strand and Tangles are all good ones to do. Do all of the weekly Lightfall replayable missions on any difficulty, and if you're into raiding, all of the Root of Nightmares triumphs count as well. Under the Neomuna World triumphs, you should collect all the hidden action figures, since you're going to need that for this seal anyways, and you can go to the different areas and collect the Apogee repeaters, which are pretty quick as well. Don't forget Lost Sectors, doing them solo and doing them solo flawlessly all give you extra points. This triumph will be one of the most time consuming, and as I said, but if you keep plugging away at the different triumphs, eventually you'll reach a score of 1,400 and get the ship, which will claim the last item on the Collections badge. Note, to get 1,400 points, you definitely don't need to do all the triumphs, because as you can see, I still have a ton that I haven't done, and I have well over 1,400 points. The second triumph for Virtual Fighter is called Unfinished Business, and is an exotic quest that eventually gives you the new exotic heavy machine gun, Deterministic Chaos. To start this quest, you have to finish the Lightfall campaign, and you'll get it from Nimbus. You can do the entire quest solo, and it'll probably take you a few hours. It's mostly talking with Nimbus, doing a bunch of odds and ends like killing Vex, going to Maya's retreat, doing a lost sector, and eventually doing a mission called What Remains, which is a fun mission that is pretty easy. Once you finish all the steps, you'll get the exotic heavy machine gun and finish this triumph. The third triumph for Virtual Fighter is called Restored and Remembered, and to complete this you'll have to do a series of quests in the Hall of Heroes that will eventually unlock the Winterbite exotic glaive, which you saw earlier is also required for the Collections badge. After finishing the Lightfall campaign, you'll unlock this area in the back called the Hall of Heroes, and you'll notice that these pillars are all broken. Each step of the quest has you repair one of them, and after repairing them all, you'll finish this triumph and get the exotic glaive. Go over and talk to the NPC Quinn Ligari to get started, and they'll give you a first quest in the series called Stargazer. You're going to want to rank 12 or 13 with Nimbus before starting because you're going to need to have Terminal Overload and its keys unlocked first. Once you have, follow the steps for Stargazer until it has you return to the hall to repair the Stargazer Memorial Pillar. Then, go to Quinn and get the next quest, Maelstrom, and keep repeating this process to finish all 4 quests in succession: Stargazer, Maelstrom, Blue Jay, and Strider. These will let you get the glaive and finish the triumph for the seal. It'll probably take you a few hours of time to do them all at a minimum. Next up is the Overclocked triumph, which requires you to complete a partition activity in under 7 minutes. The partition activity is linked to a weekly bounty from Nimbus, called Vex Incursion Countermeasures. This requires you to use Strand to collect items and complete a terminal overload and open the chest with a key. Completing this bounty gives you a polymorphic shell code, which allows you to run a partition activity. So you can essentially only do 3 a week if you have 3 characters. However, you can join on someone else's if they have a shell code to launch it. There are 3 different partition activities that rotate: Hard Reset, Backdoor, and Ordnance. They are 1790 power and do have champions. In my opinion, the fastest one is the Backdoor partition. And if you do it with a full group of 3, you should be able to easily do this under 7 minutes if you don't dilly-dally and work quickly. Once you finish any of the partition activities in under 7 minutes, you'll have completed this triumph. Moving on, the 5th triumph is Master of Survival and requires you complete any of the Lightfall campaign missions on Master difficulty. Starting in Season 20, Bungie has capped players at -20 for Master difficulty, meaning the content this season for Master is 1840, but the maximum effectiveness you'll have is at 1820. You can pick any campaign mission to do this on, and I highly recommend you get leveled up to as close to 1820 as possible before doing this, but it is possible to do at lower levels. You just have to complete the mission, no special score or time required. I'd probably try to avoid the Desperate Measures mission just because it's so long and the Callus fight can be a pain on Master, but choose whichever you want, and completing it will complete this triumph. The next triumph up is Honorary Cloud Strider, which requires that you claim all rank rewards from Nimbus. This means you need to rank Nimbus up to rank 30 and claim everything. You can gain Nimbus rank from literally anything on Neomuna: patrols, heroic events, lost sectors, terminal overload activities, etc. Like I said, I made a video linked here that shows the fastest way to rank up Nimbus if you want to check it out, but essentially the fastest way is to run tons of terminal overload activities, open the chest at the end, and then do the cheese where you sparrow out, rezone in, and reloot the chests, which will give you a ton of extra reputation, plus extra chests. Don't forget to claim bounties and find the regional chests as well, as all will contribute to ranking up Nimbus and allowing you to finish this triumph. Hand in hand with literally what I just said, the next triumph up is Terminal Treasures, which requires you open up 50 terminal overload chests. Well, voila! I just told you that you can cheese this by opening extra chests at the end of each terminal overload activity by sparrow zoning. So definitely take advantage of this here to finish this triumph as well as Honorary Cloud Strider at the same time. The next triumph up is called Final Strand and requires you to complete the full exotic Final Strand quest. Now there is a prerequisite to start this quest, which is that you have to fully unlock all the Strand subclass fragments and aspects on your character. Remember, this is done by using the Strand currency that drops randomly from activities and enemies on Neomuna. Once you have them all unlocked at the Puka Pond, it will reward you with the quest The Final Strand, which will take you on steps to acquire the exotic sidearm Final Warning. The quest is easily soloable, having you collect items from Cabal Legion troops, killing a Tormentor in Callus's ship, and then doing the time trial activity. Once you finish all the steps and acquire the sidearm, this triumph will complete. And finally, the last triumph required for Virtual Fighter is They're Not Dolls, which requires you to collect all the unique action figures hidden around Neomuna. Now to keep this video shorter, I'm not going to post a full video of how to do each one. There are thousands of YouTube videos already out there with this information that do a wonderful job showing me where they all are. Note that most of them require some type of little mini game to unlock. Here's a list of where they all are and their basic descriptions, and remember that after you find each one, you have to go back to the room that's under Nimbus to the right and place them all on their stands. Finding all 9 of these will complete the triumph and will finish off the Virtual Fighter seal. This is probably one of the less grindy DLC titles we've had, with most of the grind being on the Triumphs to finish the Collections badge, rank up Nimbus, and do the Terminal Overloads activity. All in all, I hope you find this video helpful, and thanks for watching, Guardians. Until next time.